Okay, welcome to this webinar, this live Q&A session. I am Damien Edwards, the commercial manager here at Intraface. We are Bitrix24 Gold partners, and this is your opportunity to ask questions and get answers from Bitrix24 experts. With me, I have our head of customer success and expert in Bitrix24, Andy Naylor.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. So if you do have any questions throughout this session, please do put them in the box and we can answer them as we go along.
Okay, let's kick off then with some questions that we've had in earlier. First one is, I keep seeing tasks inside, I keep seeing closed tasks in my task list. How do I get rid of these?
Okay, so that is quite a common question, quite recently, because in the tasks and the project side of Bitrix, what we have now is essentially the counters at the top. So what happens is if something was to happen inside the task, maybe somebody was to make a comment on it, or an update was published inside the comment stream at the bottom here, so we can see these pings. So what happens is that these comments show inside this particular counter. Now, what can happen after the task closes is that they still appear in the list because you have some unread comments inside that particular task. And that might not be a comment, it might be one of those pings just to say Andy maybe has closed the task. So sometimes you'll see this particular, maybe this task grayed out with a line through it. So if you click into that particular task, you would be able to see the ping or the comment that you have unread, and then it would disappear from this particular task list. Or alternatively, you can click on the comments and see a list of all of those particular tasks. And again, you could go through each one. Or alternatively, you could click on mark all as read, and then they would disappear out of your task list, because we don't really want to be seeing completed tasks. What we should see in your tasks and projects is really all of the tasks that you are working on. So click on mark all as read or view all of the comments and they will disappear from your task list.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is it possible to customize the name of some standard Bitrix fields that exist inside my deals?
Yeah, so certainly. So if we go into the CRM and you mentioned it's in deals, so it's quite a common question because Bitrix does come through with a lot of standard fields. So if we click into this particular deal, for example, if I click on edit, and let's just get one of those standard fields up there, let's say, for example, source maybe, click into the little gear icon at the side and click on configure, you can see that we have the field name. So we can actually edit that name from clicking on the little gear icon at the side, clicking on configure, and then changing that. We have the question often if maybe the name field, so there is a standard name field inside a deal, inside a lead, inside a contact, inside a lead, sorry, that you can update. So yeah, just a case of clicking on the little gear icon, clicking on configure, and you can update the field name for a standard field.
So those are the pre-populated fields, the standard fields that come out of the box. So you can change the name on those.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were to create a custom one, obviously we can set the name of a custom field, but those that already exist, ones like source, yeah, you can customize the name of those particular fields by clicking on configure, and you can see the field name is here for you to be able to change. Because you can't delete standard fields inside Bitrix, you can only hide them if you aren't going to use them. So I think it's a really good option to be able to change the name of them.
It's good to know, because otherwise you end up creating a custom field where a standard field exists but doesn't have the right description you need. So it's good to know. Next question, is it possible to create an activity from a deal automatically?
So, I mean, yeah, you can certainly do that in a number of ways, really. I mean, what generally tends to happen, and again, is that's mentioned inside a deal, is that you would have the automation in place to automatically create an activity. So if we were to click on add here, it might be slightly different for those of you on the cloud. Just click on create up here, and that's where you would get your automation rules. I'm on an on-premise system in here, but we can add activity. We can also, for example, let's have a look in here. I think we can book a meeting, schedule a meeting in here, schedule a call. All those kinds of activities will appear inside the deal on the feed stream here. So you can do it basically on any stage of a deal. And again, the same goes really inside a lead, inside an invoice and quotes now as well. The invoice and quotes module has the stages that we can use automation on. So yep, you can automate it that way.
Good stuff. Next question, if we create a stage in our deal process that says supplier invoice received, can we automate this to notify our accounts department? I think that's straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So if, again, it's pretty similar to where I've just been. So in the automation rules, again, on here, we can click and add an automation rule. And then in here, we would be able to send a notification. And then in the recipient field in here, we would just change that. We can hover over the left-hand side here, click on departments. And if we wanted to send it to accounts, for example, our finance department, we could just say all the employees in the finance department, and you can see there the recipient. So we can run that straight away, and then we could put supplier invoice received. And it's always good just to remind people that if you are wanting to pull any information from the entity that you're running this automation on, so in this case it would be a deal, you can click on the three dots to the right hand side in here, and you can access any of the fields inside the deal. So whether that was a standard field or a custom field that you've created, then yeah, you can pull any of that. And if you have a lot, just use the search up here. If I wanted to search for source again, I can pull up all of the different fields in here. Click on there. And as long as that field is populated inside the deal at the time when the automation is triggered, then it will populate that with the text inside that field. One of the other good things as well is if you did want to, maybe you wanted to delay the notification going out, one of the good features that Bitrix has is that instead of running immediately, what we might want to do is wait until the exact time. And if you've got any custom fields, for example, that maybe in this case, it said supplier invoice received, you might have a date field that said invoice date. So what you could do, in this case, I'll select renewal date. So what will happen is as long as that date field is populated inside the deal at the time when the deal moves into your particular stage, it will sit there and wait until that renewal date has been reached. And then once it has reached, it will send this notification out. And that's really good use case in quite a lot of scenarios, especially for reminders, and you have maybe contracts or license expiration dates. You can wait 6 months before. You can see in here, we can say 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days before the renewal date. And that can be quite useful just to keep sending reminders, because you can stack these automation rules on top of one another. So yeah, that's how you would send an automatic notification to the accounts department.
Okay, next question. Is there a reason you would recommend not using leads and having each new inquiry segmented into a deal pipeline? In addition, can we remove leads from the menu as we won't use it?
So I guess it all depends on, I mean, one of the good things with the deal side of things is that you can obviously have different types of inquiries going into different pipelines. So you can see on my screen at the minute, we have a whole range of different pipelines. Now, the advantage of that is that you can put your stages inside each pipeline. They can be different. So it might be that our Europe office that get inquiries work on their leads very differently from the Dubai office. So therefore, it would be a good way of getting your inquiries into each office. And because if I click on here, we'll be able to see a different set of stages in comparison to the Europe pipeline, just as an example. And I can show you a visual here that makes it a little bit clearer. So you can see our Europe office has these particular stages, and our Asia office has a completely different set of stages. So if you're feeding your inquiries into each one, you can work on them differently. And not only that, is that you can put permissions on these pipelines too. So it might be that obviously you don't want the Europe office seeing the Asia office pipeline because they don't have any involvement in that particular office. So that's another good reason why you might want to use the deal pipelines to put your inquiries into. Now, with leads, you don't have pipelines. So you would only have one process to go through. So if I just jump into the Kanban here, you would only have one process to go through, and you can't really segment it up as easy as you can in pipelines. There are tricks that you can do in terms of in your automation rules, you can put conditions on. So it might be that we have different types of inquiries receive different thank you emails. We can do that by putting these conditions in. So if your inquiry came from, let's say, your Europe website, then we could say, for example, in here, maybe type in CRM form is equal to, and then one of the particular Europe forms. And that would mean that if the lead had been generated from that website, it would only send that email. And if another lead came from a different website, then it wouldn't send this email because the condition doesn't meet. So you can do it a little bit, but it is a little bit more complicated because you only have one pipeline. I do like the way that your inquiries can go into different pipelines using the deal side of things. Now, if you want to essentially turn leads off and you don't want to use it anymore, there are a couple of different ways you can do that. You can click into the little gear icon here. You can click on CRM mode, and you can see that you can switch it to simple CRM. Now, doing that will therefore mean that we don't have the leads module in here that won't be being used. Now, if anybody uses CRM, the mailboxes inside Bitrix, and you have CRM, simple CRM enabled, instead of your emails generating a lead, your email could potentially generate a deal because you've switched the leads module off. So that's one way of removing leads from your CRM. The other way to do it would be to go into your CRM permissions. So in here, we have access permissions. We can go into one of the roles in here, and we can access deny all of the read, add, update on the leads module and assign that particular role to the users. It might be that you want to switch all employees don't have access to the leads, and it might be that administrators can have access to the leads. So those are your different ways of doing it. I think it's a good way to segment your inquiries into deal pipelines if you're not using deal pipelines for different methods, different uses.
Yeah, everyone uses leads and deals in different ways, don't they? We sometimes say that, you know, generally leads would be used for qualifying an opportunity, and if you don't feel like you need to qualify the opportunities as they come in, if you're not getting large volumes that you need that sort of qualification stage, then you can skip leads and go straight to deals. Okay, cool. Next question, can we send emails from our shared Outlook account via Bitrix or only from our personal accounts? And can we automate them to go out at set times?
It's a good question, and I'm not 100% sure on the answer for shared email accounts. I know obviously you can connect up any email account for Outlook. So if you're using Office 365, for example, or Outlook, we can click on mail in here. I can click on adding a new account, and then we have these particular options. So Gmail, Office 365, and so on and so forth. But I don't know what, with a shared Outlook account, I don't know what credentials that you would get. As long as when you click on Office 365, you click on authenticate and you can provide the email address and the password to connect it, then it will be fine. You can connect up that. Furthermore, what you can do is if you were to connect up a company mailbox, you can grant access here, mailbox access to multiple people. So once you connect up that and grant access to multiple people to use that, then in the automation side of Bitrix and in the email sending out of this right-hand side here, so email, they will have the drop down and they will be able to use that particular mail account. So we would have to double check. It may be worth getting in touch with a Bitrix support or a partner, and they will be able to help you and guide you through that connection process, just to make sure that the people who need to see it can see it. But yeah, it's worth checking out with a partner or support.
Okay, next question. Can we get our company logo on the email templates? That should be straightforward to add a signature.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're talking about so there's two things. If you're talking about a signature, you can certainly do that in the mailbox settings in here. So if I click in mail, click into the top right hand corner and we have edit signature, I can add a signature in here. I don't have a logo, but you can add an image and put the path to that particular image in here. So that's one way of being able to do it. I'll see if I can just get our one from our website. But that's one way of doing it in terms of a signature. But if you're doing it in terms of, if I just add this in here, then we can say 30%, click on save. So that's how easy it is to add in an image to your signature, and I can link it to this particular mailbox. So once I save that, every time I use that email in the CRM, it will include this particular logo. And it's the same way really for email templates. So for those of you that do or don't know, in the CRM settings, there is an email option in here. And then this is where we set our email templates to be able to send out automatically in the CRM. So if I click on add email template here, I could call it Bitrix24 live 24th November. Binding, I can bind it to any one of the modules, including any smart process automation modules that you might have created. And I could put thanks for attending. And then in here, pretty much like I did a moment ago, we can set 30%, and then we would put that in here. So click on save, come out of here. And once you've saved that particular email template, I can go click on email, click on template up here, and you can see Bitrix24 live 24th of November, and you can put that in there. Now, I've also got a signature, test signature, and assigned to interface-demo2@gmail.com. But that's how easy it is, and you can keep using it over and over again.
Okay, is there a way to put permissions on who sees the email templates in the CRM?
So there isn't. On a standard cloud or on-premise, there is no permissions other than, if I just go to it, back to it again, you might have seen when I created that email, as an administrator, I can make the email template available to everyone. So if I don't select that, only I will have access to the email. If I make it available to everybody, everybody will be able to select the template. Now, what we have done as a customization in the on-premise is that we have an additional access permission field below the email body description, and it allows you to select departments or individual users to have access to it. So with the on-premise, you do have that scope to be able to customize it and add a little bit more flexibility in terms of who you want to be able to see the template. So again, if you are needing that kind of access permissions to your templates, yeah, do have a look at getting an on-premise and speaking with a partner. Like I say, it's something that we've done previously for one of our clients.
Okay, next question. Can I use a CRM form as a newsletter subscription?
Yeah, there's no reason really why you shouldn't be able to. I guess it depends on how you want to manage the subscribers, and like, for example, where you would like that particular entry to go into. So if I put my name and my email address, would you want it to go into leads? Would you want it to go into contacts and maybe have a contact type as newsletter subscriber? That would probably be quite useful. I've also seen it in an SPA, so a smart process automation for newsletter subscriptions that just has the person's name, the person's email. You can certainly do it. I mean, if you go into your CRM forms, probably one of the most common ways to do it would be to either just embed it on your website, but you could also, for example, if I click into here, we've recently just done one where it delays on a particular page. So if you're on maybe a landing page and you embed this code into your landing page, it will wait 5 seconds while the visitor's on it, and it will just pop up with the form just saying, do you want to subscribe for maybe receive 10% off or Black Friday deal or whatever it is. They submit it and it would get fed into whichever entity that you selected on your form. So if I go into here and just click into the CRM form, on the left-hand side here, we'll see CRM entities. So if you wanted to create a lead, if you wanted it to create a customer, or if you created a special smart process automation, then yeah, you could feed it directly into that as well. So yeah, it's quite a common one, I think. Not sure if we do that in a minute, but it's certainly achievable using the CRM forms.
Yep, thank you. Okay, next question. I am using the email marketing, but how can I resize my images to fit better in the template?
So
can you resize them inside Bitrix, or would you have to do that externally?
I would probably, for that one, I would probably recommend resizing it in maybe just, I mean, we do ours, don't we, in Photoshop. I would probably use a tool to resize your images. I mean, you can Google image resizing. I mean, the standard template for CRM marketing, I think if you put like a 1280 pixel wide image in the standard template, so if you jump into here and just have a look at this particular one. Yeah, so this one here. So if you use like 1280, I think that's what this one would be. You can make it as high as you would want, but yeah, that's what generally would recommend. But I don't know, I wouldn't put a huge image in here because I think some email clients don't automatically resize images. So yeah,
on the receiver's end, yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. Can I connect up multiple Facebook business pages? That should be possible, should it? Or not?
No, I don't think it's possible. I think with your Bitrix account, you can only, so again, if I go into the CRM and go back to our contact center. So in here, I think we would only ever be able to connect up one business account. In here, we would only be able to connect to one business account. I don't think you can connect up, well, I know you can't connect up multiple on there.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Next question. There are too many menu links in the left-hand menu. I don't want my team to see them all. Can I remove them? So that's a common question, isn't it? Can remove menu links, can't you? Customize what you see on the left-hand side. I mean,
you can to a certain extent. I mean, obviously, you've got the configure menu option, and as an admin, you can set your menu for everybody. We can click on configure items here. So we click on configure, click on here, and we can hide items. It does mean that they just go under the more section, which is not great for everybody. It's quite good for in some cases. With the on-premise, I mean, you can certainly remove them. You can certainly put permissions on them. So we have many clients who have a particular user group that they assign a user to that sees one menu, maybe 3 or 4 items. And then we have another user group that sees 5 or 6 items, and then the administrator sees them all. That's quite common. And that's quite easily achievable, I would say, in the on-premise side of things. So yeah, with the cloud, you've just got at the minute the functionality to configure and hide it. I guess, I mean, what you can also do, if you, for example, if you didn't want people to see the CRM menu link, you can add the permissions in the CRM permissions area to deny them access, and then that would remove the CRM menu item out of the left-hand menu. So for some modules that have the access permissions built into them, you can essentially deny people access via that method too, and it would, especially in the CRM, I know you can hide the CRM menu item based on the permissions.
Okay, next question. Can you give me some examples of how people use work groups? It would be good to understand how different companies use them.
So, I mean, we use them for clients, don't we? I mean, we have a work group per client that we've got, and we house everything for that particular client inside that particular work group. So whether it's all of the tasks that we use, maybe for implementation, for training, the good thing with doing that as well, you've got a document drive that you can store all of the assets and the training material inside that particular work group. And then we only have the team members who work with that client as members of the work group itself. And we also, because it's an extranet group, we invite them into that particular work group as well. But there are many uses, aren't there, really? I mean, we have them for, people use them for events. People use them for departments. It's good for departments. So if you've got a marketing team, you could have all of your marketing team in there. It's got a calendar inside it, so you could put your marketing schedule. Again, it's got the drive. You can put your logos, your design material in there, your internal tasks. Work groups are really good because they essentially segment all of the information that you need away from the people that don't generally need to see it. So if you're in the marketing team, you're in the work group. If you're not, then you won't see it. You don't need to see it. And again, you can invite freelancers in there as an external group. I don't know if you've got any examples that Damien.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, it's really 3 areas: clients, projects, or teams. on variations of those three really. And yeah, that would be it. And one for a client, and then everything inside that for that client inside that group, and invite the client in then if you want to. Or if your projects are quite big and complex, then you might have a group for a group for a single project, or a team. Yeah, so each department or something has its own group. Okay, next question. I have a new menu item called invoices old. How do I remove this and only use the new module? Can that menu item be removed?
You can, yeah, certainly. So I don't know if we've got it on here. Let's have a look. So in here in sales, yes, I think you're referring to this. So Bitrix, I would say in the past few months, 6 months maybe, have introduced a new invoices module, and that invoices module now has the slide, so it slides out, and we also have the automation inside invoices. If you want to completely switch to that, then what you need to do, if I can recall, is go to CRM settings. You can go to other, and then other settings. And then if you scroll down, you have invoice preferences. And you can see here, show legacy invoices menu. So we can switch that off. That will then turn off your invoices old. So if I click on apply on here, and then if I think you can bring it back, if I can find the new invoices module in here, you can see it flashing in the top right hand corner, and you can still access your legacy invoices here as well. So if we click on there, you can see invoices old. So it's quite a good way, because it takes it away from the main menu where people might get confused whereabouts invoices have been switched to, but you might need to just close out, mark invoices have been paid. So inside the invoices module here, we can just click on invoices old, and then that will take us to the old version. So it's quite a good way of doing it, of transitioning from one old module into the new module.
Yeah, thank you. Looks like we've only got one question left, and that is the new CRM mobile app available for self-hosted? I think I can answer that. So Bitrix has released a big update to the CRM on the mobile app. It's currently available on the cloud, and it will come to the self-hosted, but generally updates come to the self-hosted 2 to 3 months after the cloud update. So that's probably looking at early in the new year before that's available on the self-hosted.
We have got a question that came through on the webinar itself. It says we want to generate a quotation using the existing deal form fields and price book from the products and catalog, i.e. the product and bundle prices, which to totals to say 100. They want to discount 5. I think it's quite a long question. I think it's quite specialized in terms of what you will need to. I think best thing to do is if you get in touch with us here at Intraface, I think one of our sales engineers will be able to just jump on a call with you and discuss the exact requirements and maybe just go through a demonstration of how that works for you. So yeah, I think that would be the best thing, because it is quite a specialized question.
Okay, thank you very much. Looks like that's it for this time, but thank you very much for joining us. If you are an existing Bitrix24 user, then please get in touch if you want help with any support setting any areas up of Bitrix24. If you're just evaluating Bitrix at the moment, then get in touch with us again, and we can provide you with a tailored demonstration, show you how Bitrix will work for your individual requirements. But that's it for now. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining, and bye for now.
Bye for now.